A while back, when I made that video series on when it might be time to quit your job, I was going through a personal experience where I was switching roles for the first time in many years. Starting a new job can be really stressful, so in today's video, I'm going to tell you some tips and tricks for how you can start your new role off right. These are based on my own personal experiences in the last year or so when I took my first role in close to a decade. So jumping right in, the first tip that I would tell you to do before you start your new job is to do work before day one. What I mean by that is a few weeks before your onboarding, you should reach out to whoever's going to be your manager or your leader at the new company and ask if there's any materials that you can review before your start date. The reason why you do this is because A, it demonstrates to your next manager or leader that you are proactive, and B, it gives you an opportunity to actually consume the new information at a reasonable pace. A lot of times in those first few weeks that you're starting a new job, it can be really stressful and you're learning a lot of things at once. And so by having an opportunity ahead of your actual start date to go through some different materials, it can be a good way for you to make sure that when you're actually onboarding in weeks 1 through 4, that it's not the first time you're ever seeing that particular piece of content. Your mileage may vary depending on what size company you're joining. This is probably going to be more likely something that you can ask for when it's a smaller company as opposed to a larger company. That said though, worst case scenario, it's going to be something where it'll demonstrate to the future people that you're working with that you're really excited to start on your role, as well as you want to hit the ground running in delivering impact. Remember, our goal whenever we're starting a new job is to prove our value and to prove our worth for them being excited and extending us an offer. So we want to be able to start delivering that impact immediately before day one. The second tip that I tell you when you're starting a new job is to set out clear outcomes for the 30, the 60, and the 90-day plan. You want to outline 3 to 5 key performance indicators or KPIs that your manager can hold you accountable for. And then what you're going to want to do is every single week, give your manager an update of how you're striving toward the particular key outcomes that both of you agreed upon. It can be a really great opportunity for you when you're setting these goals to actually collaborate with your manager and set realistic and attainable goals, but also it gives your manager a clear understanding of how you're pacing in your relative personal plans as well as the organization's plans for your onboarding. So by having these sorts of 30, 60, 90-day goals, it can be a really great way for you to make sure that you're focusing on the most important things. Sometimes, depending on how good the company's onboarding is, you might already have 90-day goals, but what can be helpful is to take an extra step of effort and provide 60-day as well as 30-day goals for your manager so that the two of you guys can work towards those respective outcomes. The third tip that I tell you when you're starting a new job, especially if it's in this case of a startup, is to ask your manager how your pace is going in your first few weeks on the job. And then after the first few weeks, you can ask this question every few weeks with your manager just to make sure that you're maintaining pacing. The goal of having this check-in is to make sure that you are meeting the expectations of what your manager is expecting from you. By having this understanding, it can be a great way for you to build trust with your new manager or your leader, and also make it clear to yourself as to whether or not you are actually achieving the key outcomes of why they expanded out this role to hire you. In the case where you're not pacing well, that might be an opportunity for you to course correct ahead of time before there's an issue with your potential manager. This tip comes from someone new on my team who asked this exact question in both their first and second week with me, and I really liked it because it allowed them to get a better understanding of my expectations of them, as well as them to just check in a proactive way and manage up to me. By the way, if you want to learn exactly how to manage up to your boss, or you've struggled with that in the past, check out my video on that on my channel after you watch this one. The fourth tip that I give you when you're starting a new role is to prioritize your projects and then start digging in quickly. So the goal for you in the first 2 weeks of your onboarding is to outline what some of the short-term, the medium-term, as well as long-term projects are going to be, and then start immediately tackling the short-term and the medium-term projects. Long-term projects will probably require you to be onboarded a little bit further along, maybe a month or 2 in, but by being able to bucket out your projects and prioritize, you're going to be able to start delivering immediate impact to your team. Before I tell you about my next tip when it comes to starting a new job, if you're getting value out of this video, hit that like button below to help other people that are also starting new jobs. The next tip that I tell you is to try to make sure that you are removing something from someone else's plate at least once a week. The reason why you want to do this is because it really shows your value beyond your immediate role. You've been hired to do something with this new role, but there's always going to be opportunities for you to add additional value beyond what you were immediately hired to do. And the reason why you want to do this is because it's one of the easiest ways that you can start to build trust with your colleagues, as well as build goodwill with some of the people that you're going to be working with over time. If, for example, they know that you've been able to remove something from their plate, well, the next time that you need to call in a favor, they'll be more likely to actually do so. And trust me, usually every single person has something on their plate that you could help them with. All you need to do is just ask them if there's anything that you can possibly help them with, or if there's anything that you could give your opinion on that they might find valuable. The next tip I have for you relates to the last tip, which is start to build your reputation as a doer. The goal for you in these first few weeks of starting a new role is to show that you can take something that's been given to you and not only deliver it, but also give them more than what they asked for. So if, for example, you were asked to organize a particular folder or something like that, what you might do is not only organize that folder, but reconsider how you might actually improve the organization going forward with that folder, and then show that to the boss or whoever it is that gave you that task. But by taking the extra step and by building this sort of reputation of being a doer and being a force of nature, people are going to give you more and more opportunities in the future as well. A good example of this is back when I was starting my most recent job, I was told to take over our partner program. And instead of just taking over our partner program with just some standard meetings, I not only met with those partners, but I also went ahead and created a Jumpstart Kit answering all the questions that our partners might have to make it easier for them to start to advocate for our product with their potential networks. And so by taking that first ask of take over our partner program and doing even more than what I was asked for, I was able to not only achieve my own personal goals in terms of my KPIs, but also start demonstrating my value to my team. Tip number 7 for you today is to ask borderline too many questions and try to learn fast. By just being genuinely curious and asking meaningful questions on a regular basis, you're not only going to solidify your own understanding of your onboarding, but you're also going to challenge some underlying assumptions that might be had by your team today. Furthermore, by learning fast, you're going to be able to make your mistakes faster in your onboarding, which means that you'll be able to start doing things right even faster as well. So don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions up front, or find ways that work with the people that you're working with to ask those questions. For example, a good way to approach this is to batch your questions so that you're not being super disruptive in somebody's day. Or you might want to just dedicate time during your onboarding to set aside to ask a batch of questions at once synchronously with somebody if you're onboarding remotely. The 8th tip I give you is to start mastering your understanding of your customers. What I mean by this is it's really important in your onboarding to start to understand the true, genuine needs and desires of the prospects that you are going to be working with for the foreseeable future at this new company. What this means is A, either talk to a lot of prospects, or B, talk to the people that are regularly talking to prospects. If you don't have a deep understanding of exactly who you are trying to serve, who your customers typically are, as well as what they're looking for in solving with your product or service, then you won't be able to truly help them later on. It's only by deeply understanding the actual pain points that cause them a lot of stress or anxiety or anger that you can truly create a great offer and also add a ton of value with your product or service. This is a topic that I've covered extensively on my channel, whether it's in the SEO world of things or in just how to talk to customers. If this video helped you as you start to prepare for your new job, hit that like button below to help other people find this video too, subscribe for more content like this, and then check out my video over here where I dig into exactly how you can talk to customers more effectively.